Wait 1 second.
Mikey Teets, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is your birthday.
Same thing again.
Come on in, everyone.
So now it's all the same people.
Yeah.
Mikey, are we doing this especially because it's your birthday?
They sent me a blank card.
You just have fire in town.
Really?
Who's that? Me too.
Wait, these are two. That's it, yeah.
69 cents for a blank envelope.
Mr. Russo, are you ready?
We're recording.
Terry, you're all set?
We are recording.
Okay, welcome everyone to the January 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Newton Town Council. If everyone will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of
flag,
the United
United States of America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic
which
which stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible,
with
liberty,
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
for all.
Thank you. Terry, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Coos,
Here.
Mr. Dixon,
Here,
Mrs. Diglio,
Yeah.
Mrs. Teets, Mayor LaFois.
Here, thank you. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the two newspapers of record and posted on the official bulletin board on January 3rd, 2025. All right, we have some presentations and swearing ins tonight of our officers of the Newton Fire Department. And I just wanted to make a couple of brief comments at the recent graduation of the 92 graduates from the Sussex County Public Training and Safety Academy. The keynote speaker said the following, and I thought it was repeating, important to repeat. Volunteer firefighting stands as one of the last strongholds of genuine volunteerism in this nation, demanding exceptional skill, unwavering courage, and a readiness to face profound risks. Service above self is about the firefighters, who are all leaders, carrying the responsibilities that come with accepting the badge regardless of rank. And I just thought that encapsulated what this department represents, and standing before us is the leadership of this department. And many of you know, who I've known for many years, know that when I relocated from California, I spent some time working with firefighters in LA County, who, as we all know, are fighting courageously right now. But when I moved to New Jersey, and specifically Newton and Sussex County, to learn that you all are volunteers, was phenomenal and exceptional. And I was incredibly impressed. And in previous terms have got to spend time with a few of you, either working on trucks. You've been gracious enough to invite me out to drills to show me what you do. I get the calls and follow what you guys are doing when I'm able to listen to the app. And I know that you all are selflessly committed. You're dedicated, you take your training seriously, you're smart, selfless, and honorable, most of you in such quiet ways. And I think the other thing that really makes our department unique is that we have generational participation. 2 and 3 generations, if not more, of firefighters that stand in this room and stand ready to serve. And it's been great. I see Christian out there. So many of you coming up, following your parents' footsteps. And I just am incredibly proud of all of you, and am happy to be swearing in our officers tonight. So thank you all for being here. And I'll come around this way. I understand we have all of our officers present with the exception of our treasurer, right? Chief? Good. All right, so if you could all raise your right hand, please. And you're going to say your names at some point during this, and you're going to say your office as well, your position, okay? So repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of the office of, according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Thank you.
All right, so signatures, right?
Yeah, they can take them to their seats. and do it.
I know we'll have some council comments, so, okay.
I just, budget sheet is the worst of it. Very proud of the officers here, all the guys back here. We run October 4 to close the year, and it's all never has a schedule, so it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes on the weekends, holidays. So we got a great team, and we do, I guess, good job. So, and it's always good to have a good relationship with council, and this town is why we're here.
Thank you. Mr. Russo?
I just want to say congratulations to all the officers. Be safe in all that you do this year, and thank everyone that volunteers for both the fire department and EMS. That speaks to the character of people in and around the community. So thank you all.
Absolutely. Mr. Coos?
And especially those of you who do double duty.
Yeah.
We may need a driver tomorrow night. Check. No, see you guys out there. Keep up what you do.
Mrs. Diglio?
Just want to congratulate each and every one of you I know I've worked with several of you many times, and I know I'll be working with Jay tomorrow night, St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's a pleasure, and thank you to all of the volunteer firemen, because this town has no idea how lucky we are for all of your service that you do. Thank you.
Absolutely. Deputy Mayor Dixon?
Yeah, just congratulations to all on your positions this year. I wish you all the best of luck in your positions, and we all owe a debt of gratitude for your service to the community. So thank you.
Absolutely. If we could just take a couple moments break, so get some pictures, that would be good, and then we'll continue. All right, so we'll continue with our agenda. We have approval of minutes, the October 8th, 16th and October 28th executive session minutes were emailed by Councilman Coos on December 26th. Just to remind everyone. I think because the attendance was different, let's go ahead and do those separately, Terry. So I need a first and a second, or a motion and a second for each.
I will make a motion to approve the October 16th and the October 28th executive sessions.
Okay,
Was everybody, I thought they were gonna be separate,
yeah.
so it's just
So
a
Sandy's
16th.
just doing the 16th right now.
Okay,
Oh,
Okay.
16th, okay.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call, please.
Mr. Coos,
Yes?
Mr. Dixon,
Here.
Yes.
There you go.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes. And then we have the minutes from the October 28th executive session.
I will also make a motion to approve the October 28th executive session.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio, second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
Yes.
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes. All right. And then we have the December 9th and the December 20th regular and special meeting. Those we can do together.
you're gonna do those together?
Mhm.
Then I will make a motion to approve the December 9th, 2024 and the December 20th, 2024 regular and special meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio and a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
Yes.
Mr. Dixon,
Abstaining from the 9th, yes to the 20th.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes. All right, at this point in the meeting, the town council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic to help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard. Speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 3 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments, so it may be properly reflected in the minutes. Council may choose to comment after the entire public portion has concluded. Please identify yourself and spell your last name for the record. I don't think we have anybody in person, and so we'll look to Zoom. If we have anyone who would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand via the Zoom app.
Can you hear us, Ludmilla?
Yes, hi, good evening, Ludmila Mekaj, Newton. I'm sorry, I missed the reorganization meeting because it was a conflict with my schedule. I mean, obviously, the timing is not very friendly, I think not just with me, but also with the other residents. So I'd like to start with congratulating the 2 re-elected council, Woman Titz and Councilman Kusa. And also I'd like to add, considering the results of the 2 running for the re-election and 1 opposing, I hope you'll realize that 2 or 4 years will pass very fast. And this result will be reversed with more opposed candidate, since the residents are not very happy what's happened with the taxes last year. So we know that those were increased unreasonably, and that is going to now to cost a lot of money for the tax appeals. And that is like, okay, what are we doing here? Okay, we raised here, and then after that, you spend money with hiring the lawyers, town lawyers. So in this year, I inquired that you all will apply a common sense and accountability for the reckless spending of the taxpayers' money. And I hope, you will be able to do some more detailed work and that thing not to be repeated again. Otherwise, the lesson, it will be learned 2 years or 4 years from now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Camilla. Tom, do we have anyone else?
No.
Just in response to the beginning of Mrs. McCodge's comments, the reorganization timing and date is actually established by statute. So we have little control over the schedule. The council reorganization meeting for our form of government needs to occur on noon on the 15th of January. And thank you for the rest of your comments. Do we have any other public comments at this time? All right, we'll move on to council and manager reports. Mr. Russo?
Nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Coos?
Nothing. Thank you.
Councilwoman Diglio?
Only that we are continuing to work on the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which will be on March 8th.
Thank you. And that bears repeating March 8th, because I think with the following weekend, some people may be a little confused about that. Yeah, exactly. Councilwoman Teets is not with us tonight. Deputy Mayor Dixon?
Nothing for me at this time.
Okay. So I just wanted to update everyone on January 15th. I attended the Newton Recreation Advisory Commission meeting. They have a ton of events planned for this year. It's going to be a great year. But of note coming up is the Valentine's Day Senior Ice Cream Social, which is going to be at Liberty Towers on Thursday, February 13th from 3:30 to 5. So all are welcome for ice cream and board games. Space is limited, however, so if you'd like to attend, please contact the Recreation Department. Again, that is an ice cream social on Thursday, February 13th at 3:30 p.m. Later that evening, we attended the Newton Land Use Planning Board reorganization meeting. Pleased to report that Barbara Vranos is once again the chair and Gary Marion is the vice chair. They're both looking forward to a busy year this year. On January 17th, I had the opportunity to attend the Intentional Relationship Building presentation and webinar with the department heads. Tom, I thought it was a great program. There was lots of good reflections and feedback from the staff as well. So thank you for the opportunity to participate in that and spend that purposeful time with the department heads. We have several vacancies on our boards and our commissions this year. Our Board of Health, Economic Development Committee, Shade Tree, the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission, and specifically our Land Use Board or our Planning Board. We have 3 alternate positions open. So if you're interested, please look at the Town of Newton New Beautiful website to learn more about those opportunities. I want to congratulate Tom for being elected to the North Jersey Municipal Employee Benefits Fund as the chair for a 2-year term, Tom. So thank you very much for your service to that entity and for the good work that I know you and the team will do this year or the next 2 years, really. And I wanted to call out specifically a thank you to our water and sewer team and our DPW teams for their quick and thorough response to our recent water main breaks. And I want to thank the residents for your patience. Hopefully everyone is getting the notifications from the town. To me, it just underscores and amplifies our continued focus on improving the infrastructure around our water and sewer facilities. So thank you to our first responders don't think I have anything else at this time. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to our discussion for this evening. We have a presentation from Jessica Caldwell, our town planner, regarding our plan endorsement status.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. Tonight I'm here to discuss plan endorsement. It's a process whereby the municipality submits its master plan for review of consistency with the state development and redevelopment plan. This process in Newton actually dates back to 1993, when Newton was designated as the state's first regional center. So it started at that time where the state was doing center designations to identify areas of growth and prosperity, particularly within rural areas and areas that aren't necessarily identified for growth, but small clusters, smart growth focused areas. So Newton received that center designation back in 1993, and every 10 years there's a renewal. The center was renewed in 2003. And then following the 2003 center designation, the process changed to what's called plan endorsement, where they look at more of the totality of the municipality in terms of planning rather than just focusing on a center. Because for some communities, the center isn't all of the community, but in Newton, it actually is. So it didn't change the process for Newton dramatically, but they do review more of our municipal planning documents, and it's a little bit larger of a process. So we were again designated in 2013, 2014 as a regional center. And so now our center and plan endorsement is up for renewal this year. We've submitted all of the documentation and gone through a negotiating process with the State Planning Commission and the various agencies, including New Jersey Department of Transportation and Department of Environmental Protection. And what we've come up with is a plan implementation agreement, which is a series of planning processes and agreements that the municipality makes with the state, that over the next 10 years, we will work on these various processes that aren't included in our plans that are part of the state plan. And primarily those are focused more on climate-related objectives that have come into play more recently with the state plan. So things like there's a climate change related hazard vulnerability assessment that needs to be done with next time the master plan is updated. So that's an important piece of it. And there's just various planning projects that the state is asking the town to work on over the next 10 years. And for the most part, if there's an issue where we can't address something within the time frame, a lot of them say 1 to 3 years or 1 to 4 years, we do an annual assessment, so we can always let them know, if there's not funding in place or something like that. A lot of the things they left on the schedule, even though we've completed. So there's actually several action steps that will be taken care of when we do our Sustainable Jersey certification that are still on there, and those two dovetail as well. So it's not as much as a heavy lift as you might think if you just, looked at it without seeing those other kind of dovetailing projects. It also, we have an updated center plan map. Over the years, the State Planning Commission and DEP have sort of reduced some of the center designation areas to take out environmentally sensitive areas. So the wetlands areas of town have been taken out of the center, but it doesn't really impact anything we do in the town. And then there's an additional overlay of flood hazard areas, which is another area of concern for the state with increased rainfall over recent years. There's more concern about flooding. So those are also shown on the map, which doesn't necessarily have a positive or negative impact. But overall, the plan endorsement designation does assist the municipality in getting grants, which we have been very successful at over the years. it puts us on a kind of a higher level tier than other municipalities. So it's a good thing to have. It also gives us more of a direct line of communication and cooperation with state agencies, which also can come in handy if we need some assistance. So I think for those reasons, it makes sense to continue this process and to go ahead and go forward with the plan endorsement. Later tonight, you have a resolution on approving the center map as well as the plan implementation agenda. Provided that resolution goes through, we're going to be on a call, I think, in February 20th or 21st, February 20th, with the State Planning Commission, PIC, which is sort of their subcommittee. Once they approve us, it would go to the full State Planning Commission. So I would say in the next, probably by March, we would have our plan endorsement designation, and it would be good for another 10 years. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything anyone might have.
Does anyone have any questions for Jessica?
Well, thank Jess, her and I have been working on this and our staff for quite some time, so I appreciate all the time and effort they put into the documents and.
Any significant changes since the last round of going through the process of note?
Like I said, really, it's more of the climate change items that need to be addressed. But luckily, I think with Sustainable Jersey, since they've overlapped so many of those, and we're looking at doing the designation, I think a lot of the things we get points for are on our plan implementation agenda. So it's kind of nice we get sort of 2 for the price of 1 on some of our work there. So
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Deputy Mayor Dixon, do you have any questions for Jessica?
No questions, just thank you for all the work on this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Jessica, I concur. I mean, a lot of the work gets done between Tom's office and behind the scenes, but I know that updates are constantly being made. And one of the things I think we appreciate is the position that it places us in for the ability to secure and become competitive for the grants that we're applying for.
Yes.
Which I know has been a priority of Tom's since he came to the town, and certainly a priority for the council members to continue to be competitive for the grants that we can get and bring in monies for our residents. Any other questions? So the resolution tonight is resolution 66-2025. It's the first on the consent agenda. Okay. Jessica, anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, so we'll move on to the ordinances tonight. This year I want to introduce a little change. Typically, Tom reviews the consent agenda, and particularly for those that are attending virtually or might be attending to observe the meetings. I have asked Tom to just do an overview of the ordinances that we're introducing as well. I know that the council will get information and look at those ordinances before the meetings. But for the public, since we are going to have public hearings at typically the next council meeting, I think it's important that they just get a brief overview of the ordinances before we introduce them. So Tom, if you could just go through the 3 ordinances that we have for introduction tonight, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And these were approved by the mayor and deputy mayor for introduction tonight during our weekly meeting. So the first one, 2025-1, there's an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a land donation for block 5.04 lot 5 at 7 Cherry Lane. The property was reviewed by Scott Holzhauer, our tax assessor, and Corey Stoner, the municipal engineer, and they both recommend acceptance of the donation. So that's the first one. Second one, 2025-2, revises and supplements the code for streets and sidewalks, notably section 266-42 for notices. Currently, the clerk's office is responsible for notifications when it comes to paving projects and such, and we're moving that over to the Department of Public Works, which makes more sense since they're involved with the engineer on these projects. And then the third ordinance, 2025-3, updates chapter 105 to make Newton film ready with changes that came from the state of New Jersey after they reviewed our ordinance. There was only a few tweaks. They're very happy with the ordinance overall, but they do have a few tweaks for us to be film ready for 2025 so we can start attracting companies to do commercials and TV programs and movies here in the town.
Yeah, so with regards to ordinance 2025-3, Tom and Kat and others have been working very hard on this ordinance, but the hard work has really come in the inventory of locations that we had to submit with pictures and descriptions in order for the town to become film ready. I think there are like 75 or so, if not more, locations throughout the town, which is exciting. So great work on that. And at this point, then we'll move to introduce ordinance 2025-1. This is an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a land donation known as Block 5.04, Lot 5, commonly known as 7 Cherry Lane. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I will make the motion to introduce ordinance 2025-1.
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilwoman Diglio, a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Can I offer a technical amendment? Very
Sure.
quickly, it should be 7 Cherry Street, not Lane.
Thank you, Terry. You'll make that update?
Yep.
Thanks, JP. All right, roll call.
Mr. Coos,
Yes,
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois, sorry.
Yes. So the public hearing on this ordinance will be held on Monday, February 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard. All right, moving on to ordinance 2025-2, an ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement the town code of the town of Newton, County of Sussex, state of New Jersey, chapter 266 of the town code entitled Streets and Sidewalks, most notably section 26-42 entitled Notices. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I'll
Make a motion to introduce ordinance 2025-2.
Thank you.
and I will second.
All right, I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Dixon and a second by Councilwoman Diglio. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
yes,
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes, this will also, this hearing will also be on Monday, February 10th. Ordinance 2025-3, an ordinance to amend, revise, and supplement the town code of the town of Newton, County of Sussex, state of New Jersey, chapter 105 entitled Filming, most notably section 105-3 entitled Issuance of Permits and section 105-4 entitled Performance of Permit Holder. Do I have a motion to introduce?
I will make the motion to introduce ordinance 2025-3.
second,
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio, a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
yes,
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes, and the public hearing on this ordinance will also be held on Monday, February 10th. Thank you. We'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the town council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Tom, will you please run down the consent agenda?
66 is the aforementioned resolution on planning and implementation agreement and the state plan policy maps for plan endorsement. 67, extension of a contract for Schmidt's Wholesale for water meters. 68, authorizes a municipal lien on 131 Main Street. 69 is a disclosure contract for Gravity Design Works. 70 is vacation and sick leave time payout for Chief Van Nolen. 71 establishes a Green Team Advisory Committee. 72 accepts proposed ADA ramps and crosswalks at Liberty Street and Linwood Ave Annex intersection project as final. 73 is the resolution on the fourth round for affordable housing that Jessica had presented to the council. 74 is the sanitary conveyance system improvements engineering services phase 1 sewer rehab for Suburban Consulting Engineers. 75 is appropriation reserve transfers, and 76 bills and vouchers.
Do we have any resolutions to be discussed prior to motion? All right. Matt? No,
No.
okay. Seeing none, can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to offer the consent agenda as presented.
second,
I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Dixon and a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
Yes?
Mr. Dixon,
Yes.
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes. I think that was the first one. We didn't have any.
I had to triple check to make sure they were.
Okay.
That's it.
I think that is the first one. Okay, at this time, we will move to the second open public session. No one in person. Tom, do we have anyone on Zoom?
Two so far.
Okay,
First one's Peggy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Margaret Baldini, Baldini. I just had a couple of questions about the payout for the chief. It seems like, we've had a lot of retirements lately, and they all seem to have quite a large payout. 80 or 90K isn't unusual. I was just wondering, are you not letting the guys take off? Why do they have so much vacation time? It seems unusual with such a stressful job. You would think you would want them to take, some time to, relax and rest from that stress. And like in most normal jobs, you can only carry over a certain amount. So like 40 hours is like a more reasonable amount per year that you could carry over, if you couldn't get in your vacations or whatever. Is anything being done for the future to like avoid this sort of, 80 or 90K going out, on retirement? Is there something in the contract that allows them to do that we could work on negotiating later? Or is something being done for the new hires? Because vacation time is an important time. You got to get away, rest and relax occasionally. And that's all. Thank you. Have a good night.
thank you. Is there a second, Tom?
Yeah. Dr. Mikaj.
Hi again, Ludmila Mikaj. I want to bring to your attention, since in the first open public meeting, I didn't have enough time.
Ludmilla, if I could ask you to just speak up, we're having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Okay, good. Okay, I have a few questions about the property maintenance performed by the town of Newton in 131 Main Street, known as the block 1401, lot 17. Being a landlord myself, number one, having a land that is almost 3 acres out there, knowing how much it costs to mow the lawn, I find it a little too much. Did you, I know how much it costs hiring even very, and I'm not saying that, businesses, they do not have so sophisticated equipment, but I think it's a little too much. So I'd like to know, how did you decide for that? Did you do some kind of bidding? That is number one. Number two, what this represent, how many times they came to do that mowing of that property? Because again, comes out of the taxpayers' money. So I'd like know a little more. How did you decide for that? It's a little too high. I could have done that hiring my people for much, 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 much less money. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Russo, if you could, since it's an HR issue, address the question by Peggy Baldini regarding the chief's payout.
Yeah, the payout for the employees in the police department are governed either by PBA, depending on rank, SOA, or the chief's contract. So that's why the payout numbers are what they are. As far as 131 Main Street, the Department of Public Works had to itemize the hours and the equipment that was used. So it's reasonable based on what we pay our staff and the cost associated with the equipment. And it has to be certified before we can put the lien on the property. So that's how we got to the number that's in that one particular resolution.
Mr. Bernstein, correct me if I'm wrong. In 2007 and 2010, the state legislature enacted a couple of sick time leave reforms for any public employees in the pension system, such that anyone hired after that date is capped at $15,000 for a single payout. So anyone who was hired prior to that is grandfathered into whatever agreement was pre-existing. We have a number of our retirees who fall into that category, but prospectively, it will be capped at 15,000.
That is correct. Predominantly the 2010 legislation, which caps any employee who was hired on or after May 21st, 2010, will generally be capped at not to exceed $15,000 for unused sick time, of which they're allowed to accumulate unlimited amount, generally in case, God forbid, they should get sick. As for the 2007 really doesn't apply to almost anybody here, but for the pre-2010 people, they are not covered by that situation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Russo, this is a civil service municipality.
Mhm.
So the legislation does call for no accumulation of vacation time for payout. There is a little unknown regulation set forth in Title NJAC 4A:2-2.6, I believe, which allows for the accumulation and payout of vacation time, contrary to the state statute, irrespective of when they were hired.
I think that's an important delineation, but thank you, Councilman Coos, for also raising that, once again, it's not something that's always mandated or controlled by the municipality for certain. Thank you, Mr. Bernstein. And then with regards to, I think Ludmila's final question about how many times, it was several times that our DPW crews have had to go out to maintain the property at 131 Main Street. Okay, anything else public-wise? All right, we'll move on to our final council and manager comments. Any other additional comments, Mr. Russo?
Yeah, just looking for guidance for the budget discussion. We provided 3 dates that were amenable for the CFO, myself and the mayor. Saturday, February 8th, 9 a.m. to noon, Monday, February 10, which would be pre and post council meeting. So we would do 5 to 7, council meeting at 7, and then after the council meeting, we'd finish. Or February 11th, Tuesday, 5 p.m. would be the alternative. That'd probably take us from 5 to 10 p.m. And Mr. Ferry is looking to introduce the budget February 24th.
Yes, and so we are on a tight schedule because of the mandates to introduce by a certain time. So I did get some feedback from Councilwoman Teets, who said that she would prefer the 8th or the 10th.
10th would be my vote.
The 8th works for me.
Which, Matt?
The 8th.
Sandy?
We have a meeting on the 10th, do we not?
Yes.
I would prefer the 10th, since we already have a meeting scheduled.
Okay, so it looks like no one for the 11th. And the 10th is Sandy, JP, and Matt.
No, Matt with the.
No, Matt is the
I can't
8th.
get here. I can't get there any earlier on the 10th. So
I'll miss the first 2 hours.
Just Sandy, can you do the 8th?
I'm not 100% sure. I might be able to do the 8th, only because we're closing on my mother-in-law's house, and I'm not sure of the date yet.
Okay, and JP, can you do the 8th?
I'm
He's not.
unavailable.
No.
Then on the 10th, you have the police department swearing-ins. I know that there's probably a gathering afterwards, but you'll have to miss that. Is that?
What about the 11th? Is everybody available on the 11th?
No. he said
No.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think Matt, you weren't available on
could
the
too.
11th, right? think Matt was in though on the 11th.
Matt,
What's
not
that?
available on the 11th. The 11th?
On the 11th.
No, I'm not available on the 11th.
Okay, so we do not have a date that works for everyone.
No, so you have to pick the lesser of 8th or 10th.
Okay, so how many would be missing on the 8th? It would be
John Paul.
JP and possibly Sandy.
Maybe we can be there on the 8th. That's a Saturday. They will be doing a closing on the house on the 8th.
So JP, you can't attend any of it?
Nope.
And then the 10th is not good for Matt.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Is do the majority of the meeting on the 8th and possibly the rest of it on the beginning of the 10th.
I'll finish it all in one shot, so if we do
Well,
it on
you
the
can
8th,
do it, well,
it's gonna finish.
that's up to you all.
I gotta get staff to come here on a Saturday, so if we're gonna do it Saturday, we're gonna run it through.
JB, can you call in?
No,
No.
it's an exam day.
Hmm.
I'm tied up.
Well, if you wanna do Monday, I can go over stuff with Matt. You know,
Matt, what time would you be able to arrive on the 10th?
I mean, the 10th, I can only get there at the start of the meeting.
Yeah.
You can't get there any earlier.
if I sit down.
Okay, so Matt, maybe we could cover the presentations. Matt, Tom can cover them either on our Friday call or with you independently. The materials then, would that work for you?
That's fine. If that's what it has to be, that's fine.
And you don't have the option to call in, right, prior to 7 o'clock?
No.
Okay. At least Matt will be here for half of it and can get the information, and that gets everybody else here on the 10th. So instead of missing a full council person on the 8th, we have a half a council person on the 10th. If I did my math right, Mr. Ferry, is that correct? Right, Tom, does that work?
And like I said, I could sit down with Matt and I'm happy to do that and work around his schedule so that he's not missing any.
Need a motion to call for a special council meeting on the budget, starting at 5 o'clock on the 10th of February. And continuing subsequent after the close of the regular meeting.
So let me ask another question about that. Is the 5 earliest that everyone can start?
I could be here at 4.
I could come earlier.
We could check with Michelle to see if she can come earlier, right?
That is a court date, so the court is in session and they do have a trial that day. So they're usually done by 4, but I can't make any guarantees.
I would do 5.
5, stay at 5 o'clock.
I'll have stuff prior to, they're available and then we'll just hit the ground running at 5. Right, you just wanna do a motion and second, Helen, on that, Mary?
All right, so can I have a motion to schedule a special council meeting starting at 5 PM on Monday, February 10th?
I will make that motion to schedule a special meeting with the budget starting at 5 PM on February 10th
Do I have a second?
And continuing after the regular meeting.
and continuing after the regular meeting.
Thank you, Council.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio, a second by Councilman Coos. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coos,
Yes,
Mr. Dixon,
Yes,
Mrs. Diglio,
Yes,
Mayor LaFois.
Yes, and I think we have already very well prepared budget, so it's mostly going to be the presentations. Yeah. From what I understand, I'm not sure that there's going to be a lot of conversation line item by line item, but we certainly will
Yeah,
receive that
Not a lot.
ahead of time,
But
right?
it's a good budget.
It is, yep, I understand, it's a good budget.
I will advertise accordingly.
presumably it might maybe be best if Matt And Mr. Russo can connect before?
Oh,
This
yeah.
way it
Yes.
has
Oh,
the-
yeah, no.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Matt, you and Tom will connect beforehand. And so if there's any questions, Tom can share those questions with the rest of the council.
Mhm. Okay.
All right, Mr. Russo, anything else for consideration tonight?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Dixon, anything from your end?
Nothing, no.
Councilman Coos?
Nope.
Councilman Diglio? All right, I have nothing else as well. If not, then I need a motion to adjourn at 8 PM.
Go ahead.
I will make the motion to adjourn at 8 p.m.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Diglio, a second by Councilman Coos. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, everyone.
Be well, Matt.
Thank you.
Good luck, Matt.
Thanks.
Gary, I need that
Go,
resolution.
Pope John.